Good evening, Virgo. The minibar hums at a frequency that sounds almost like a lullaby for machines. It is 4:12 in the morning. Outside the window of this hotel room that could be in any city because they all look the same after midnight, all beige and blue and desperately pretending to be somewhere rain is falling in a way that suggests it has no intention of stopping. It is not dramatic rain. It is not the rain of cinematic breakups, with thunder and lightning to underscore the dialogue. It is simply persistent, patient, the kind of rain that knows the earth needs time to soften before anything can grow or before anything can be washed away completely. In the bed behind them, someone is sleeping. The third party, the variable that was never supposed to become a constant. Their breathing is steady, untroubled, almost insultingly peaceful. They have no idea that the person sitting on the edge of the mattress, feet on the carpet, elbows on knees, head in hands, has not slept through the night in weeks. They have no idea that the body beside them has become a haunted house, that every time they reach out in their sleep, they are touching a person who is mentally kneeling in front of someone else, someone who is not here, someone who is at this exact moment probably asleep in their own bed in their own city with no idea that their name is being whispered into the dark like a rosary made of regret. Your person, Virgo, is seriously sad. And I do not mean the performative sadness that people post about, not the curated melancholy of playlists and aesthetic quotes. I mean a sadness that has weight, a sadness that has moved into their bones and rearranged the furniture, a sadness that makes them stare at the minibar for 20 minutes, trying to remember if they prefer still or sparkling water, because their capacity for simple preference has been short-circuited by a grief they cannot name out loud. They are sad in a way that makes them feel transparent, as if the hotel staff could walk through the door and see straight through them to the wall, as if their skin has become a suggestion rather than a boundary. They want to end the third party. This is not a passing thought. This is not a mood that arrived with the rain and will evaporate when the sun returns. This is a structural collapse. The third party was never a foundation. They were a distraction, a detour, a temporary shelter that your person convinced themselves was a home because the real home you felt too far away, too complicated, too much like a mirror they were not ready to look into. Let me tell you how this happened, because you have probably spent too many nights constructing narratives where you were not enough, where you were too much, where your standards were the wall they could not scale, and so they found a door somewhere else. Those narratives are wrong. They are the cheap, available stories that pain sells you at a discount. The truth is more specific, more devastating, and ultimately more liberating. Your person met the third party during a season of their life when they were running from their own reflection. They had encountered something in your love that was too clean, too clear, too much like truth. And truth, when it arrives before a person has built the architecture to hold it, feels like a threat. It feels like exposure. They looked at you and saw not just a partner, but a reckoning. They saw that being with you would require them to become a version of themselves they were not sure they could sustain. Your love asked questions that their soul was not yet ready to answer. Your presence demanded an integrity that they had not yet excavated from the rubble of their old wounds. So they did what frightened people do. They looked for a dimmer room. They found someone who did not see them as clearly, someone whose love was softer, blurrier, more forgiving of the parts they had not yet healed. The third party offered a love that did not require excavation. The third party offered a love that accepted the surface. And for a while, that felt like relief. It felt like rest. It felt like finally being with someone who did not make them feel inadequate simply by being so thoroughly themselves. But here is the physics of escape. You cannot outrun a reflection. You can only delay the moment of recognition. And the reflection they were running from was not your judgment of them. It was their own judgment of themselves, mirrored back through your clear eyes. They ran from you because you made them want to be better, and the wanting felt like burning. So they chose the third party, the cooler water, the slower burn. And now, in this hotel room at 4:12 a.m., they are realizing that cool water does not purify, it only numbs. And numbness, maintained long enough, becomes its own kind of death. The sadness started small, a text they meant to send you and then deleted, a song that came on in the car and made them pull over because they could not see through the sudden tears. A moment with the third party where they laughed at a joke and heard the hollowness of their own laughter bounce off the walls like a rubber ball in an empty gymnasium. These were the first cracks, the hairline fractures that appeared in the foundation of their escape plan. Then the dreams began. Not romantic dreams, not dreams of reunion or fantasy, dreams of ordinariness, dreams where they were doing nothing with you, washing dishes, folding laundry, sitting on a porch while you read and they dozed, dreams so mundane that they woke up with an ache that felt like homesickness for a place they had never left but had abandoned. The dreams were cruel because they showed what was possible. They showed the life that could have been theirs if they had not been so afraid of the heat of your love. Now the sadness is total. It is atmospheric. It has become the medium they move through, thicker than air, heavier than water. They are seriously sad, Virgo, because they have finally understood that the third party is not a person to them anymore. The third party is a sentence, a punishment they assigned themselves for being too cowardly to choose the love that terrified them in the best way. Every kind word the third party speaks feels like a reminder of what they do not feel. Every touch feels like a translation error. They are living in a love language they never learned, pretending to be fluent, and the exhaustion of that performance is crushing their chest like a stone. They want to end it. This is not a question. This is a biological imperative at this point. Their soul is rejecting the third party, like a body rejecting a transplanted organ that was never a match. The third party senses it, of course. On some level they know. The energy has shifted. The texts have become shorter, slower, more forced. The affection has taken on a quality of obligation. Your person is pulling away without knowing how to explain why, because explaining would require admitting that they have been emotionally absent for months, that their body has been present but their heart has been stationed elsewhere in a territory marked with your name. But wanting to end it and knowing how to end it are two different countries. Your person is stranded between them. They are standing at the border with no passport, no map, and a crushing fear that the bridge back to you has already been burned. They are terrified of hurting the third party. This is real. They are not a monster. They are a coward, which is different. They know that the third party did not ask to be a placeholder. They know that The third party fell in love with a version of them that was never fully real, a performance piece that your person staged to get through the nights when your absence felt like frostbite. They feel guilty. The guilt is a second skin. It makes them overcompensate with the third party, buying gifts they cannot afford, making promises they know they will break, performing a tenderness that feels like sandpaper against their own heart. They are trying to soften the landing for someone they are about to push off a cliff, and the pretending is making them sick. More than that, they are terrified of your response. They have rehearsed the conversation in their head so many times that it has become a kind of mental scar tissue. They imagine showing up at your door, or sending the message, or calling at an hour when they know you will be awake. They imagine saying, "I made a mistake. I ran from the best thing that ever happened to me because I was afraid. I chose safety over truth, and the safety has become a prison. I ended the third party. I am alone." I am asking if there is any room in your life for someone who failed you but has learned, finally, what you were worth. And in every version of this imagined conversation, they see your face. They see the particular way your eyes narrow when you are processing information that hurts. They see the slight lift of your chin, the way you retreat into your silence, the way you become very still when you are deciding whether to let someone in or to close the gate. They do not know which Virgo they will meet. The one who still loves them, buried under the rubble of betrayal, or the one who has finished rebuilding, who has replaced the doors, who has learned to live without the draft they used to let in. This uncertainty is the true source of their sadness, not the third party. The third party is just the setting. The true sadness is the possibility that they destroyed the only bridge that mattered and that you have already found another way across the river. They want to end the third party because the third party has become the evidence of their failure. Every day they stay is a day they are choosing the wrong life. Every morning they wake up beside the wrong body is a morning they are reminded that they are living a lie, and your person, for all their cowardice, has reached a point where the lie is no longer breathable. The air in the hotel room is too thin. The mask has fused to their face, and they are suffocating underneath it. They need to rip it off. They need to speak the truth, even if the truth costs them everything. Because continuing as they are is costing them more. You need to know what is happening inside them right now. Because from the outside, it might look like nothing. They might still be posting pictures. They might still be showing up to events with the third party on their arm. They might still be performing the role of the committed partner, the satisfied lover, the person who made a choice and is living with it. But performance is not life, and the cracks are showing. Watch for the signs, the sudden disappearances, the way they go quiet for days and then resurface with an energy that feels desperate, hungry, like someone who has been fasting and is trying to hide the tremor in their hands. The way they ask mutual friends about you, casually, too casually, with a lightness that sounds like it was rehearsed in front of a mirror. The way they have been showing up in the digital spaces where you exist, not commenting, not liking, just watching, just consuming your presence in the only way they still have access to. They are orbiting you like a moon that has forgotten it is no longer welcome in your gravitational field. And the sadness is making them bold. Not the reckless boldness of someone who wants to conquer, the broken boldness of someone who has nothing left to lose. They are going to reach out soon. The third party will end not with a dramatic explosion, but with a whisper. Your person will simply stop being able to perform. They will withdraw. They will become so emotionally absent that the third party will have no choice but to ask the question they have both been avoiding. Are you even here anymore? The answer will be no. They have not been here for a long time. They have been with you in their mind, in their dreams, in the quiet spaces between their heartbeats where your name is stored like a password they cannot reset. When the ending comes, it will be messy. There will be no clean break. The third party will cry. The third party will bargain. The third party will list all the reasons they should stay, all the investments they have made, all the time they have given to a person who was never fully available. Your person will take the guilt like a communion wafer. They will let the third party rage. They will let them grieve. And then, when it is over, they will sit in the empty apartment, the apartment that was supposed to be a fresh start, a new chapter, a proof that they could be happy without you, and they will feel the full weight of what they have done. The loneliness that follows will not be peaceful. It will be a loneliness that howls, because for the first time they will be truly alone with the truth, no third party to distract them, no performance to maintain, just the mirror and the reflection and the memory of your face. And then, Virgo, they will come to you, not because they are ready, not because they have earned it, but because they are drowning and you are the only shore they know. You need to decide before that moment arrives what your shoreline looks like. You need to decide if you are a harbor or a lighthouse. A harbor lets them in. A lighthouse shows them where the rocks are, but does not move. Both are valid, neither is wrong. But you need to know which one you are before they arrive with their ship full of apologies and their cargo of regret. Do not, under any circumstances, meet their sadness with your own erasure. Do not shrink your standards to make their return more comfortable. Do not pretend that the betrayal did not happen just because they are finally acknowledging it. The third party existed. The choice to run existed. The nights they spent in the wrong bed while you were learning to sleep alone, they existed. Your grief during that time was real. Your confusion was real. The way you had to rebuild yourself, brick by brick, while they were playing house with someone else, that was real. Do not let their sadness rewrite your history. Do not let their regret become a vacuum that sucks up your righteous anger. You are allowed to be angry. You are allowed to be furious. You are allowed to look at this person who is finally seeing what they threw away and say, I am glad you are sad. I am glad it hurts. That is the price of the ticket back to me, and I am not sure you can afford it. But you are also allowed to soften. You are allowed to see their sadness as the first honest thing they have offered you in months. You are allowed to recognize that people sometimes need to walk the long way around to find their way back to truth. You are allowed to leave the door unlatched, not open, but unlatched, while you decide if you want to let them turn the handle. Here is what you should watch for when they arrive. Watch for whether their sadness is about you or about themselves. There is a difference. Sadness about themselves sounds like, I was lost. I was confused. I made a mistake. Sadness about you sounds like, I see what I did to you. I see the nights you waited. I see the trust I broke. I see the way I made you question your own worth. And I am here to tell you that your worth was never the problem. My vision was. If they come with the first kind of sadness, send them back. They are not ready. They are still the center of their own story, and you do not have time to be a supporting character in their redemption arc. But if they come with the second kind, if they come with a sadness that has your name written all over it, if they come with an understanding of the specific ways they wounded you and a willingness to hear without defense about every sleepless night they caused, then you have something to consider. Consider it slowly. Virgo, your gift is not forgiveness. Your gift is discernment. And discernment takes time. It takes data. It takes watching to see if their actions match their remorse. It takes letting them stand in the rain of your silence until they prove they are willing to get wet. Do not rush to comfort them just because they are finally uncomfortable. Let them sit in the discomfort. Let them prove that their sadness is not just loneliness wearing a costume. Let them prove that ending the third party was not a last resort because the third party finally saw through them, but a choice made in honor of a truth they can no longer outrun. The rain is still falling outside the hotel window. It has been falling for hours. It will fall until the streets are clean, until the gutters are full, until the dust of the summer is washed into the sewers and carried out to sea. Your person is watching it now, or they will be soon, when the third party has finally packed their bags and the door has clicked shut and the silence has settled over the room like a judgment. They will watch the rain and they will think of you. They will wonder if you are watching the same rain. They will wonder if the rain means the same thing to you that it means to them, that the world is being washed, that the old marks are being erased, that something new is trying to grow in the softened ground. And you, Virgo, you are not responsible for their growth. You are not the rain. You are not the sun. You are the earth itself, and you have your own seasons to honor. If you choose to let them plant something in you again, make sure they bring seeds and not just need. Make sure they are willing to tend what they plant. Make sure they understand that your soil is richer now because you have spent this time alone, feeding yourself, learning your own nutrients, and you will not accept a gardener who is only looking for shade. They are seriously sad. Let them be. Sadness is the first honest weather they have felt in a long time. Let it soak them. Let it chill them. Let them shiver in the truth of what they chose and what they lost. And when they come to you, if they come, do not offer them a towel and a warm drink right away. Let them stand on your porch for a moment. Let them feel the draft they used to let in. Let them see that you have built a fire, but the fire is for you, and they will have to earn their place beside it. The third party is ending. The lie is ending. The performance is over. What remains is a person, stripped of their scenery, holding their sadness in both hands like an offering they are not sure you want. You do not have to take it. You do not have to take anything. But if you choose to look at what they are offering, look with your whole self. Look with the eyes that see everything. Look with the heart that knows the difference between someone who is sorry they got caught and someone who is sorry they broke what they cannot replace. Your person is learning that lesson now, in the hotel room, in the rain, in the silence after the ending they initiated but did not control. They are learning that you cannot trade down from a love like yours and expect to sleep through the night. They are learning that the third party was never the problem. The problem was their own fear of being loved completely. And they are learning, finally, that the only way back to you is through the valley of their own regret. And that valley is long and dark and has no shortcuts. Let them walk it. Let them walk every mile, and when they reach your door, if they reach your door, you will know. You will know by the way they knock, hesitant but persistent, humble but present. You will know by the way they say your name, not as a password to get inside, but as a prayer of thanks that you are still here to be spoken to. Do not answer at midnight. Do not answer at dawn. Answer when the rain has stopped and their voice no longer sounds like a request for rescue, but like an offering. Then, and only then, speak your first word.